Welcome back to Joy of the Hang. I'm your host, Sharon Stevenson, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with a powerhouse in the world of events and experiences. Adrianne Mellen is more than an event planner. She's a visionary who has shaped how brands, communities, and individuals come together. Her career began at some of the most iconic publications: Vogue, In Style, Real Simple, and Teen People, where she honed her craft as a brand focused experiential marketer. She launched her own business, Adrienne Elizabeth Events, creating unforgettable moments across fashion, media, lifestyle, sports, tech, and beyond. By 2020, she shifted everything. Rather than pause, Adrianne transformed, birthing her 2.0 vision, Propeller. Launched in 2023, Propeller is more than an event company, it's a movement. With its social impact arm, Propel Her. Adrianne is empowering women in business and in life, offering grants that create real ripples of inspiration. Her influence doesn't stop there. From serving on nonprofit boards to strengthening her South Street Seaport community to advocating for the arts and women's advancement, Adrianne has proven that events aren't just about gathering people, they're about sparking change. Today, we'll explore her journey from glossy magazines to groundbreaking impact and how she continues to propel others forward with creativity, courage, and connection. Welcome, Adrianne.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
And
What a
Adrianne
beautiful
is, thank you. And Adrianne is coming to us from her home in New York City, right?
You got it. Yes.
Yeah. So welcome to Sarasota. Has it been hot in New York?
It's been beautiful in New York. We've had fantastic weather the last few days, so I cannot complain.
Well, let's tell our listeners a little bit about, before we dive into your experience, a little bit how you and I connected, because I think it's a really cool story. So in
Yeah.
February, I went to one of your events, unbeknownst, obviously we hadn't met. And it was an event by the Blondes New York. And the way that all happened was my daughter at the time was interviewing for her position at Columbia University to enter into their master's program. And so she was auditioning all weekend and I had nothing to do. So I started searching and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's New York Fashion Week. Let me see if I can go to a show. And I had been told that a lot of these fashion shows were only for industry people, like the public wasn't allowed to go, right?
Sure.
But somehow I came across your events and I only had a couple of days that I could attend. So the Blondes New York was one of them. And let me just say, you created the most amazing VIP experience. I was just blown away.
Well, thank you so
Maybe you
much. I
could,
appreciate that.
yeah, tell me a little bit about that. Tell the listeners about that, the process of planning one of those shows, maybe that show in particular, since that's the one I'm familiar with, but that was a Blondes New York. How do you get designers to work with you, first of all?
So we have a long-standing relationship with a lot of the designers in New York, and we've been working on New York Fashion Week for many, many seasons. We actually started with another company called On Location that was doing a similar program. And On Location got sold a couple of seasons ago, and they were no longer investing in the fashion business. And so we reached out to our network of designers and our friends and said, hey, listen, we're thinking about taking this over. Will you work with us? And they said, yes, of course. And so from there was born Tailored by Propeller, which is the experiential arm of our business for New York Fashion Week. And we just feel really blessed to work with the designers on our roster, from the Blondes to Alice and Olivia to Sergio Hudson to Christian Cowan and many, many more. And then most fun is working with our clients like you, whether you've been with us for a long time or have found us sort of in the cool way that you did. We just love being able to create this experience for folks that, like you said, may not have connection personally to the fashion industry, but who love fashion and want to go to New York Fashion Week and really do it in this very white glove sort of bespoke way. So it's a really cool thing that we get to do.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I forgot to mention a really important part of that story, which is how you and I ended up connecting, is that you had a photographer there and his
Yes.
name was Doug. And
Yeah. Good old dad.
I have to give a shout out to Doug because he treated us like royalty and took our pictures and made us feel like we were part of the show. And like we were part of, a supermodel runway kind of the runway supermodel. So that was super fun. And he and I stayed connected after the show.
I
So
love that.
I was so impressed with him. And then he had an aha moment and said, "You know what? I need to connect you with Adrienne, and I think she'd be great for the show." So we've been fans of each other ever since.
Yes, definitely, and I'm also so grateful to Doug. He's the best. We just love having him on the team, and he's really a wonderful photographer and really
Yeah.
captures the essence of what we're doing at New York Fashion Week, and then you get to have the beautiful souvenir afterwards of the pictures and all of the good things. So it's great. It's great.
Yeah, and I think a month after I received a beautiful book from the show and from the New York
Yeah.
Blondes, or from Blondes New York rather. So yeah, it was the whole thing was over the top fun. So thank you
Oh,
for
good.
that.
Of
Yeah, thank
course,
you.
my pleasure. I can't wait to welcome you back to New York Fashion Week this season.
I know, I can't wait to come. So I'm coming again in September. So I will be there on September 13th. I'm going to be attending, as you know, the Christian Cowan show. So I'm so
Yes.
excited. And so our friend Gretchen Bauer who owns Be Swanky handbags. She had a contact with Riley, who works with Christian Cowan. So anyway, that's
Mhm.
how I get connected. And now they're actually making me a one of a kind dress to wear to the show. Isn't
That's
that amazing?
amazing.
I know.
Yes. Very special.
So it's gonna
Way
be
to
next level. It's gonna be
Yeah,
next level this year, yeah. I'm paying for it, mind you, but it's gonna be next level.
it's totally gonna be trouble. I'm so excited for you.
I'm so excited too. I'm
Eh,
excited to meet Christian, and I got the chance, I told you, to meet Max Alexander recently and purchased one of
yes,
his pieces, and what a lovely little boy he has a bright future in fashion, right?
he sure does. He's absolutely precious and so talented.
Yeah. Well, you would
Yeah.
know. You would know. So when did your passion for fashion start? I mean, was this
Oh,
always your goal when you first started out, or did you just wanna do event planning?
so I always loved fashion. I grew up in Florida, actually, not far from Sarasota, outside of Orlando. And my girlfriends and I would, wait for our Vogue subscription to come and, talk about everything and look at everything. And, it felt like a very far away world, but it was definitely something that I was super passionate about. And then after college when I moved to New York and started working in the magazine industry, I got much closer to it. So I remember going to the shows when they were still in the tents, when it was 7th on 6th, back at the Bryant Park tents. So I've been adjacent to the fashion world for quite some time, and I love the creativity and the artistry and the artisanry of the New York fashion industry. So I feel really blessed that, as a, kind of small town girl from Florida, I get to do this cool stuff and see these iconic shows and create these memorable experiences. And so I love fashion. It I don't have the creativity, unfortunately, to ever, be a fashion designer or anything along those lines. But I feel like I've kind of married my love for fashion with my skill set in event planning, which is what I've always done. I've been an event planner now for over 20 years, and so to be able to bring that in with this focus on fashion, it's been really 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 cool. It definitely doesn't feel like a job. It feels like, kind of a dream come true. So fashion, yes, is a love. Event planning is my longtime career path, and so doing the both of them together is really cool.
Well, kudos to you because I was in hospitality management for over 20 years and, managed large hotels, and it is not easy I mean, you really have to be detail oriented to be able to
Yes,
plan these events, right?
yes,
You must have a
yes.
team. Do you have a team that helps you?
I do. Yeah, I have a really great team. I feel really blessed to work with some really smart, just on it women who help me with, kind of all the things that we do, whether it be through Propeller, which is the events planning side, or through Tailored by Propeller, which is obviously our fashion experiences. But yeah, the team is awesome and we have a ton of fun together.
That's great. Now, looking back, who are some of your mentors or other influences that shaped your life?
have been wildly blessed to have really incredible mentors. Actually, one of my mentors, Christina Albee, is the woman who ran On Location for many, 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 many seasons and really gave me the kind of confidence and push forward to begin Tailored by Propeller. I'm so wildly grateful to her for that opportunity. And my longtime mentor, Carolyn Chauncey, she's actually down in Palm Beach, Florida now. She helped me get my first job at Team People and really gave me so much valuable career guidance and advice and care from, a slightly more grown up woman who was quite a bit further along in her career. And she just has been an invaluable friend and mentor to me. And then my longest running mentor, who I love so much and wouldn't be the woman I am today without, would be my granny.
Aw.
She is just the coolest woman and is the epitome of unconditional love. And she's just so wildly interesting and talented and passionate about the things that she does. And she was a real Renaissance woman in that she was a career woman back in the 50s and 60s when most women weren't doing that. And just, I've always been so inspired by my grandmother. And she's still with us, thank goodness. And I talk to her at least once a week, if not more. So if there's anybody in my life that has inspired me to be the best that I can be, it's definitely her.
What makes her so cool? Tell me something about her.
She's the coolest. She's just the coolest. She's got the best sense of humor. And she really can do anything. She plays 5 instruments. She actually probably truthfully instilled my very first sort of passion for fashion because she is a very accomplished seamstress. So she would make my first day of school outfits every year and we would design them together and I would have a whole vision and she would create it for me and she ran hospitals back in the day and until she retired when it was time for her to do that and yet she's this humble, beautiful, just kind human that she's just the coolest. She's
That
the epitome of
generation, you're just so hardworking, right? I mean, that
that.
generation just yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
know. I had the same relationship with my grandparents. I miss them dearly, but the same thing. I don't
Yeah.
know. They were just such an influence in my life. So I'm happy you have that too.
Yeah,
That's
thank
great.
you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Granny's the coolest. Shout out to Granny.
Shout out, Granny. In 2009, you launched Adrian Elizabeth Events. What was your vision at that time, and how did you begin to carve out your space in such a competitive industry?
That's a great question. So in 2009, I had moved from New York to Columbus, Ohio, and we were going through the downturn of the 2008 housing market crash. And as you may well know from working in the hospitality industry, it's an event planning as a career can feel like a luxury to a company to have. It's oftentimes when times get tough within companies, event planners go first and sort of kind of that ancillary, the nice to have positions, because it's typically thought that, kind of anybody can plan an event, which is true. It's just whether or not it's going to be a good one or not. And so I was looking for a full-time position and running up against just there really wasn't anything out there. And so I thought to myself, this is the time to start my own business and to put myself forward as, kind of a quick fix for companies that are still hosting their events, but no longer have their in-house teams. And so I quickly found a niche there and had a bunch of corporate clients that quickly figured out that they did needed a professional planning the events that they were doing. And then I got into really high end wedding planning, which was really, really fun and really exciting step forward for me because I had worked on in style weddings, real simple weddings, some other wedding publications. And so to actually do it for brides was really, really special and really personal. Brought a lot of meaning to the work that I was doing. So that was a blast. And did that successfully in Columbus for quite a few years. We had some awards and accolades and did a bunch of really cool things. And then in 2018, I moved back to New York and continued on with my corporate clients. And I missed the weddings. They were just so much fun to do. I really, really loved working with the brides and their families and keeping up with them and then going to their baby showers and just being such a part of up until that point probably the biggest day in their lives and
True.
giving them
Yeah.
that sort of magical experience. It was really special. Very cool.
That sounds amazing. I would think it would be challenging at times to work with brides and their families, so it's good to hear that you loved it so much.
I just think it was challenging. I would say that half of my job was being a therapist, but I loved
Right.
that. Totally fine. Yeah, I working with it's so personal, which makes it very different than corporate because every decision is personal. Every decision is reflecting the couple and reflecting the families and um and it all about them. So that was a really cool experience. And it was a really good learning experience because there were times where I disagreed with clients. Like, I personally wouldn't make that choice, but it wasn't about me personally. It's about them. And so that was a really good learning lesson for me in terms of becoming a better planner, I think. Letting go of any of my ego about the events and just guiding them to their best event that makes them happy.
So I think the obvious next question then is if you loved it so much, why did you pivot to corporate?
So I'd been doing both. So I'd been doing the weddings and doing corporate. And when I moved back to New York, I just really felt like it was time to kind of pass the torch to someone else in Columbus to keep it going there. I could have continued to do weddings in Columbus, but not being on the ground, I didn't feel like it was going to be as personalized of a service as what my clients deserved. Um, so I pivoted just to mainly doing the corporate events. I went back and did a couple of weddings. You know, uh, Over the next 18 months is kind of like I was closing down my business in Columbus, but it just made sense and it was time. And I'd done weddings for a really long time, and
Yeah.
um, I was getting older, the brides were getting younger, and it was a natural time to pivot. And I think I got out while I still loved it so much versus staying in a industry that it is very challenging and a lot of hard work and a lot of emotion. And so I think I can sit here and say that I still love weddings so much because I quit doing them when I did.
Yeah, and you didn't wanna do them in New York when you moved to New York?
I didn't need to do them in New York. I
Okay.
had enough business that it was keeping myself and the team busy with our corporate clients that to establish myself in New York as a wedding planner and kind of break into a very oversaturated industry, especially in New York, I just decided that wasn't the place that I was going to take my business when I came to New York. We were just going to focus on corporate and getting back into working with some of the magazine and entertainment contacts that I had and that sort of thing. So it worked out well.
So I have a question. So you mentioned that you're a small town in Florida, and I'm just wondering what gave you the guts and the confidence to start your own business to begin with? It's
Oh my
scary.
gosh. It is scary. Part of it was I didn't feel like I had nothing to lose because there wasn't much out there for me to do on a full-time capacity, and I'd always wanted to be my own boss and start my own business and do my own thing, and so the stars kind of aligned. But I would say my granny gave me the guts. She was very encouraging. My husband at the time was very, very encouraging, and I figured I'd never failed at anything before and I wasn't going to fail at this, and so let's go.
Yeah.
I was a communication major.
Okay, and what did you as a communications major?
I always wanted to be an event planner. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was very, very I didn't have eyes for anything else. I was very focused all through college on being an event planner. So that's what my internships were. I did a lot of event planning with my sorority and other organizations that I was involved in college. And when I had my eyes set on New York, I knew I wanted to go to New York and be an event planner someplace really, really cool that I couldn't do anywhere but New York. So whether that would have been a fashion house or a magazine or MTV or, something that was very New York specific and very noteworthy, that was my goal. And so having my first job be at Teen People magazine was like a dream come true. I couldn't believe it. It was just amazing.
It is amazing. So you already developed the skill set you needed to launch your own business from very early on. You already had your sights set on that goal. So,
I did,
right.
yeah. I don't think I knew it at 22 that I was gonna start my own business, but when I moved from New York to Columbus, that felt like, a possibility, and so it became one, which was awesome.
What do you think the biggest challenges are of owning your own business?
Oh gosh. You know, I am both the founder and the intern sometimes. So, not having the big teams and the big resources can be a challenge because we have to be scrappy and think on our toes. And, there is no kind of cushy sort of fallback plan. It's like, we have to make it happen. So that can be both a joy and a challenge. There is joy in that challenge. The probably the hardest thing for me is continuing to get myself out there and sell the business. I have to sell Propeller, which essentially in some ways is selling myself, and I don't love doing that. It's it I can sell almost anything, but it's kind of stops with me. So that's a skill I've had to work on quite a bit. And then there are some times that I am envious of folks that are going into an office and having that office camaraderie. We all on the team work from home, so we don't get that kind of water cooler chatter and all that kind of good stuff. But I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah. I know. So what do you do to work on that skill of being more confident and trying to be better at networking, I guess? How do you build that muscle?
Oh gosh. Part of it is just forcing yourself to do it. Like I typically try to say yes to every invitation that I receive and force myself to introduce myself and chat with people that I don't know and tell them about my business and about myself. So just kind of, you know, running towards it, I think is probably what I do. I'm not a natural at it. It's not my favorite thing in the world to do. There are times when I would prefer to just stay home and get into my pajamas and call it a day. Um, but I also firmly believe, and this has always rung true, that the most important thing in business is networking and your network of supporters and people who know about you and have seen your work and are willing to vouch for you. And so, um, as much as I may not always love or want to do it, it's been invaluable to me in my career to maintain relationships and make new relationships. And that's been the most fruitful avenue for me to maintain and gain new clients.
Well, and I appreciate you sharing that because I think a lot of our listeners, I think that really would resonate with a lot of especially young female entrepreneurs. I do think it's tough when you're trying to do it all and there's going to be, things that you don't love, right? And
Yeah,
so to push through those moments of being uncomfortable,
sure.
that's where
Yeah.
you get your growth when you push through that. That's where the growth
Yes.
happens. So,
Definitely 100%. And in being an entrepreneur, it's not easy. So pushing through and doing it that's a really important skill set to hone
yeah.
for sure.
Well, and ironically, I totally can feel you because even though I can get on here and do a podcast with you and we can talk one on one, if I have to do a TikTok post, it's like I got to figure out how to now promote this on social media. And that's my thing. And I think part of it is the age gap. Part of it is that, I'm a little older and I didn't grow up with that technology, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah, I
there's
get it.
that, like, I'm not comfortable with necessarily seeing myself on camera. And then I've got to figure out what to say and look natural or silly or however I have to come across. So I
Sure.
totally get that. And as a one woman show too, it's daunting at times with all the things you have to do to make your business successful.
Percent. I completely agree with you. And I haven't even forayed into TikTok yet. I'm absolutely terrified of it. I knew. probably coming next. We can give each other some tips maybe.
Oh my God, girl, all of it. Instagram, TikTok, and they all have a different format. And they all have, I'm just like, okay, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a lot.
lot.
It's
It's a
a
lot.
lot. It's a
I was
lot.
okay with just Facebook, and even then, I wasn't doing a lot. I was the last one of my friends to get a cell phone. My friends used to laugh because we'd go out. This was after my divorce, and we'd go out on girls' night, and they'd say, "Well, we'll just text you." And I'm like, "Text me? What are you talking about? You're not texting me. You're gonna have to actually call me. We'll text you where we're gonna be." And they would be like, "Come on, we're going to Verizon to get you a phone." I mean,
Those are good friends.
I was a late bloomer to everything. I was late to the game.
I love it.
But that's okay. I now have a 23-year-old that walks me through it, so it's all good.
There you
Oh,
go. It's all in the
right?
family.
Yeah, well, with a 10-year-old son, I'm sure he's pretty up on all of this. If you've allowed him to have a phone, he already knows how to do all this.
Yes, he's always like, "Mom, let me just look at it. I can figure this out."
Yeah.
And sure enough, he usually can. Yeah,
Right?
just can you stop? Let me see it. And sure
You're
enough,
you're
he
making me crazy. Let me just have it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's like, "You're too
Uh,
slow." So
uh-huh. That's my daughter too. I'm like, "No, I need to learn this." And she's like, "No, just give it to me."
I know, it's so funny. It's so funny.
All right. So you've created events across fashion, sports, tech, not for profit, and more. Which industries challenged you most and which surprised you with their openness for creativity?
That's a great question. So, not for profit has probably surprised me the most because very similar to weddings, it feels really personal. And so I always feel a connection to the organization and to the people because they are working towards something. So I really enjoy not for profit. And I find that they're usually really open to suggestions and creativity and new ways of doing things and then it's always a really kind of fun challenge to say, okay, well, we've got a not-for-profit budget versus a corporate budget, and we still have to make this event really fabulous and fantastic. And so how can we stretch the dollars and find ways to give a champagne event on a beer budget? So I enjoy that challenge a lot, and having clients that a client with a cause, typically it's causes I myself believe in, and so to give back to something that is important to me is it's just a real joy. It's a perk of what I get to do. And then surprisingly, I find that there's a lot of creativity in tech events, which we wouldn't
Yeah.
normally we wouldn't normally imagine, but I've been able to work with some really cool clients and do some really interesting big conferences and kind of change them up from what you normally would imagine a tech conference to be to actually being a super special event. And that's been really cool. I've really, really enjoyed, getting in and doing things a little bit differently and kind of surprising and wowing people and having those surprise and delight moments. Yeah. So that's been cool.
I'm sure you try to make each event better than the one before, but is there one that just really stood out that you were super proud of?
Oh gosh, there's been a lot. They're like my babies. I'm proud of all of my events. But a long time ago, right before I moved from New York to Columbus, Ohio, I was working as the special events director for the March of Dimes. And I had just left Real Simple, and they brought me in to kind of infuse some freshness into these really long standing 25, 40, 50, 60 plus year events that had been around for a really long time. We had 6 industry events. One of them was called Gourmet Gala, and it had gotten a little tired and it needed to be refreshed. And so I got to work with this was back in the mid 2000s. So per se was kind of like the hottest ticket around in terms of, the culinary world. And Thomas Keller and I worked together to reinvigorate the Gourmet Gala, and it was at Per Se, and we basically just opened the doors to Per Se, and Thomas Keller just welcomed our guests into Per Se, and they got to go in the kitchens, and everywhere you turn, there was a Thomas Keller delight and moment and food and thing, and you could see in the kitchens French Laundry and Per Se talking back and forth to each other. They were on live feed, and they were like, "Hey, how much butter goes in the blah blah blah," and all of this, and It was just a really cool, really, really special evening, and I don't think that our attendees had ever experienced something like that before and
Yeah.
probably haven't experienced anything like it since. So that was super cool, and working with somebody like Thomas Keller, who's just such a visionary and genius at what he does, was super inspiring. So I
Yeah,
loved
and
that. It was so great.
just for our listeners who don't know who Thomas Keller is, he is a Michelin star chef. I think he's based out of California, right? And now is
Yes.
has per se in New York. Does he have more
Yep.
restaurants in New York? I know he has French Laundry. He
He's
has
got French Laundry.
his 3.
He's I think he does. I think he does have something else in New York. It's escaping my mind what it is. And then he's got his restaurants out in California, and his cookbooks and just everything else. I mean, he's
He
amazing.
he is world renowned, and we went to one of his restaurants, and the name of it is escaping me right now, but we went to one in Napa. It wasn't French Laundry, we couldn't actually get into French Laundry, but he
It's
had
probably
another one.
Bouchon.
Yes,
Was it Bouchon?
what
Yes.
Bouchon. We went there.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Sean is so special.
Oh, all of his restaurants are special. I
So
mean,
special.
if you get a chance to go to a Thomas Keller restaurant, you need to check it out, right? Because it's over the top.
Over the top. Best
Over
food you've ever had.
Oh, yeah. I would agree. I would agree. So, 2020, the year of the pandemic, forced so many of us to rethink our businesses and lives. What did that moment of reassessment look like for you?
So, yeah, 2020 was wild. We were, you know, moving along. It was the spring of 2020, March, and we had 6 events coming up within 6 weeks, and we're, really worrying how we were going to do it all. And then all of a sudden, boom, the pandemic really hit and everything was shut down. Everything was canceled. Our contracts were canceled. And, um, I found myself without any sort of business or work, and it was a scary time, certainly. But what I decided was, in the sort of like very early days of the pandemic, my entire responsibility was keeping my son safe and healthy and transitioning him first. So I actually quarantined with two of my best friends in the hills of Ohio. And so we had a house out in the hills of Ohio, and we were able to be outside and play and do things with my son. He was in pre-K at the time. So, reading with him and helping him get on his Zoom meetings and, doing obstacle courses and just kind of anything I could think of to keep my son, learning and moving forward and happy. And, I feel so grateful that I had the opportunity to be in Ohio and not stuck in a New York City apartment. And then fast forward about 6 months into the pandemic, one of my clients actually hired me to come in house and help them with their corporate culture programming. So they had found that during the first 6 months of the pandemic that their employees were really having a hard time facing kind of, all of the changes and being at home and not seeing each other, and really in trying to find ways to connect with each other and connect with their clients and all of that kind of stuff. So they brought me in to do corporate culture programming, and that really opened up my eyes to how much I loved being able to give back and be a part of something sort of bigger than just the business or my business or whatever it may be. And so that was when I launched my business 2.0 Propeller. It was really important to me that I had a social impact arm of the business, which was Propel Her. And as you said so beautifully in the introduction, we provide grants to propelling women and girls forward in business and in life. um I'm a firm believer that everything sort of leads you on the path that you're supposed to be on. And so it was a great experience working in house. I loved my client. I was so grateful to them for giving me the opportunity, but I was really happy to get back to doing my own thing. But I don't think that I would have thought to or been as inspired to launch Propel Her had I not done um the corporate culture for my client, which really opened my eyes to all the good that businesses can and should be doing.
Oh, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And I applaud you for doing that. That's great. What do you hope people feel when they walk into an event curated by Tailored by Propeller?
Oh gosh, I just hope that they feel special. I hope that they feel like it's an event worth their time and their energy and, with fashion shows and whatnot, their money. And, I just want them to walk away feeling like they have really just been taken really good care of and
Yeah.
felt like the VIP that they are.
Well, that's how I felt when I walked
Oh,
in.
good. I'm so happy for that.
So you have a lot more shows on your roster this year. I think you said this is year 2 for you really doing it?
So this season 2 for Tailored by Propeller, but we've done this is probably our 7th or 8th season being involved in New York Fashion Week in kind of the experiential capacity. Yeah, we've got a lot of designers on our roster. I think we have close to 20 this season, which is super exciting. I think it's the most we've ever had. And we've got some new ones that we haven't worked with before, which we're really excited about. And it's going to be a super exciting season.
Yeah, it is. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping that the weather's good because when I came up in February, it was snowing.
I know. The blonde show, we were so worried. There was a ton of snow for the blonde show.
There
Yeah,
was.
not good for the shoe selection.
No, it wasn't. Or the coat selection or the hair.
Right, I know, all the things. I think we're gonna have wonderful, perfect, perfect, perfect weather. We've been
Good.
talking to Mother Nature about it.
Like, we have you? Have you been
Yes,
talking to mother? Good, 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 good. I have too. I'm doing my part too.
yes.
I don't think there'll be snow in September in New York, so that's okay. It
No,
could be down or it could rain. That's something, but that's all right. We'll work it out.
we'll work it out for
I'm
sure.
not too worried about it. So you have shows all week long? Is it
Fashion Week starts September 11th and ends the 16th, and we have shows every day, several shows every day.
all right? And if any of our listeners are in New York during Fashion Week, you need to look at Adrian's website, and that's at tailoredbypropeller.com, correct?
You got it? Yep.
Go on and you can check out all the VIP experiences that she has available. They're amazing and so worth it and so much fun. And I thought it was going to be a once in a lifetime for me. So when I did it, I'm like, I'm going to splurge because it's a once in a lifetime. And here I am going back. So
I'm so glad you are. Yes.
I know. And now that my daughter lives there, it gives me an excuse too, another excuse to visit New York. So
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I love New York. Now I'm from Maine originally. So
Okay.
my daughter has a love of theater. And so from a very young age, we would go down to watch shows on Broadway. So that was but that's really all I know of New York is that Times Square Broadway area. So I'm
Sure.
excited to visit her more and get to know a little more of some of the other cool areas.
Yeah, definitely.
Where should I go when I'm in New York?
Oh
What's the
gosh. Um, do you know where you're staying at?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. Let me do some thinking. I mean, there's just so many amazing restaurants, and I know where you need to go if you do nothing else.
Okay. Remember, we're giving our listeners tips here too. Yeah.
Yes. So, a department store, and stay with me here because I hear you on the word department store, but a department store called Printemps just opened at One Wall Street, and it is in this absolutely beautiful Art Deco building. And Printemps is essentially like the Bergdorf Goodman of Paris. And the only
Oh,
other place to have a location is in New York. And they have 5 restaurants. The shoe department is absolutely to die for. You could spend an hour in the shoe department. It's in this big domed room that has all of this beautiful red and gold tile that they found when they were refurbing the building. They like went through a ceiling and like found this beautiful domed gilded age, just gorgeous
you're talking
artistic
my
ceiling. The food is to die for, and you could spend an entire day there and be so happy. So you absolutely 100% need to go there. Highly,
all
highly,
right.
highly, highly recommend. I go any chance I get and just wander around and enjoy it.
All right. I'll have to tell my husband to find something to do while I poke around.
Yes, exactly. He can go to the Capitol Grill around the way and have a steak.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That
Yeah.
sounds good, actually. So you also serve on nonprofit boards and are deeply engaged in your South Street Seaport community. Is that still true?
It is still true. I live in the South Street Seaport, which is part of the financial district in New York, and so I do a lot with preservation and my son's school, and just overall, being a advocate for folks visiting the South Street Seaport, which is so charming. It's such a little untouched gem in New York. I highly recommend coming to the Seaport as well.
Okay. All right. I'll have to check that out too. So tell me,
Yeah.
what does community mean to you personally, and how do you nurture it both inside and outside of your business?
Community to me is the people, places, and things that are within my orb. So the Poconos are my community, the South Street Seaport is my community, my friends are my community, my family is my community, my son's school is my community. So,
Yeah.
community is giving and receiving, benefits to each other, whether that be friendship or learning or funds or whatever, whatever is best for the greater good of the community on the whole. And am such a firm believer in the importance of community and nurturing um, the people, places, and things around us. I don't know what else to say about that, but community is so, 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 so important.
It is so important. I agree. Especially, you look back to the pandemic, and it's the people that or that
Yeah,
are in, like you said, our orbs that kind of got us through that time because it
a
was
hundred
really
percent.
right. I mean, it was so scary. And
Yeah,
so, I mean, none of us had gone through it. And, I just remember a lot of personal disappointments. Like you said, a lot of events got
yeah,
canceled. My daughter's graduation from high school got canceled. Just
yeah.
all these events that you would looking forward to for so
Sure.
long. My restaurant, I ended up having to close my restaurant so yes, but the community, brings you together
Yeah,
during those.
definitely.
I totally agree. So what's next for Propeller? Are there new horizons that you're excited to explore?
I'm just excited to keep doing what we're doing. I feel like I've said a couple of times as we've been chatting, I feel so blessed to do what I do and that folks want to work with us and hire us and give us trust us with their events. So I'm just looking forward to continuing that and keeping the relationships with the longstanding clients that we have and fostering relationships with new clients. And then I have a lot of high hopes for Tailored by Propeller. I just love what we're doing and I think it's such a unique thing that we're offering. And so, I'm really looking forward to more and more and more people knowing about us and coming and experiencing New York Fashion Week with us. So, yeah, that's kind of my hope for the near and far future.
So, do you have a designer that's on your bucket list of a designer that a show that you wanna put on? Do you have a dream
Oh
show?
gosh. I mean, I'm so in love with the designers that we have. I feel so lucky that we get to work with these incredibly talented individuals they just produce and create such beautiful, magical collections and have such amazing shows. I don't think that there is I don't think that there is kind of like that dream designer. I think we've already got him.
You've already got them. I love that.
We got him.
Do you attend all the shows? Do you attend all the shows?
I do. Yes.
So I'll see you in New York? Yeah.
We break into teams. We've got so many shows that we can't do all of them as one team. So we've got two teams that take care of our clients at the shows. But yeah, we get to stay and watch them, which is really cool.
Oh, good. I hope I meet you then at
I
Christian.
know. I know. I will make sure that I'll make sure I'm at Christian so I can meet you.
I wish I could come to more shows. I'm wearing Alice and Olivia right now. That's what this
Precious.
is.
I love it. Love it.
It's an older anyway, I it doesn't go out of style. That's what I love
No.
about some of those brands.
Yeah.
You
Agreed.
should see the dress. Wait till you see the dress his team designed for me.
I'm so excited. I
I'm
cannot wait.
so
Yay.
can't wait either. All
It's gonna be
right.
like art.
I know. I know. I'm gonna have to it's another one that will hang in my closet next to my Max Alexander dress. They're
Yes.
just gonna they get worn once maybe in public, and then they stay in a special place. And that's how I feel about Gretchen's bags. They're the same. They're all bespoke pieces of art. They're
Yeah.
one-offs, or, so it's nobody else will ever have the same bag. So I love
Cool.
that. And I've
So
met
cool.
the people behind them that design the bags and that work on the bags, and so I love that connection when you can meet the team.
Yes, it's very cool. It's very
Yeah, it's
cool. Yeah.
super cool. So, yeah, it's awesome. So what advice would you give to women who are ready to launch their own bold vision but might be hesitating at the edge of fear?
I would say just do it. There's no good time. There's no better time. Just put on your big girl panties and do it, because if you don't do it, somebody else will.
Yeah.
And just do it.
And I love that, and we all have this fear of failure or a fear of being judged, right? And I remember
Yeah.
when I opened my own restaurant. I had a business for a while that, like I said, I had to close during the pandemic, but one of my girlfriends, who's very cautious at the time, said, "I really envy that you're able to take this leap of faith and take these risks." And she goes, what did she say? She goes, "I'd be so afraid," or whatever. And I said, "My fear comes from what would happen if I didn't do it. My fear
Mm-hmm.
would be the loss of it, not the trying of it." So
Sure.
for me, I would rather try it and fail and know that I tried than always
Yep.
have it in the back of my mind that maybe I could have done it and
Yeah.
not had the courage to try it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because
I do.
you learn a lot out of your failures too. So it's not just the successes that teach us. In fact, the failures teach us even more, right?
100%. Absolutely. Yes, for sure. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we learn the most from our failures.
Yeah. So girls, put on your big girl panties and give it a shot. And surround yourself and connect yourself with people that will help you succeed and help your
Yes,
vision to life. Because I think that's key. Don't be afraid to ask for help, right?
exactly. Especially from other women.
Oh, yeah. We're all wanting to help each other and lift you up. So, final question. Your brand is called Propeller, which is all about forward motion. What's the hang, the conversation, or the relationship that has propelled you forward the most in life? I know it's your granny. You already told me that.
It's my grandmother. I think that I have a very large circle of dear, 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 dear girlfriends, and they're my sounding board and my laughter and my besties and all the things. So I think what continues to propel me forward is my relationships with women, whether it be my mentors or my granny or my best girlfriends or other women in business, women like you doing things that are inspiring for other women, women in the media. um that's really that's my hang, and that's what's propelling me forward is other women for sure.
Yeah.
um yeah.
That's a great answer. Thank you. That's
My
awesome.
pleasure.
And thank you for sharing your incredible journey from magazines to Tailored by Propeller to Propel Her. I've loved hearing about the relationships that have propelled you forward, because that's what the joy of the hang is all about. To our listeners, if this conversation inspired you, please share it with a friend and keep seeking out those joyful hangs. Thank you so much, Adrienne. I appreciate having you here today.
Thank you, Sharon. It was my pleasure.
I'll see you soon in New York.
You sure will. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. All right. Bye.
Bye.